Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics and Radam. Egberto Willis, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today. But first, let me give not an errata, but what's going on here. Hey, I've got the flu. So if I'm a little bit lackadaisical, if I'm a little bit under the weather, you understand why. I feel sick as hell, but the show must go on because you know what? Politics waits for nobody, and what needs to be done waits for nobody. Title of the show today, Trump to cut Medicare and Social Security. Punto numero uno. Secondly, doctors support Medicare for All. A big organization, the second largest, came in support, folks. I'm telling you, we are getting somewhere. Donald Trump said he is ready to break his Medicare Social Security promise in his second term. Doctors are supporting Medicare for All in droves. In droves. Donald Trump went on to Davos to hang out with billionaires. He seemed to promise that Social Security and Medicare is on the table. Later on, I'm going to play you some videos that's going to make you kind of say, you know, what's wrong with this guy? Anyhow, anyone who doubts that Donald Trump really does not give a damn about the average American citizen and will lie indiscriminately for his goal is obvious by his statement vowing to break his promise. So, topics of discussion today are going to be as follows. We're going to start with our bi-weekly contributor, Tamara Johnson-Shealy. She's going to rant on billionaires impairing the voices of the independent media. And we also have Donald Trump, who implies, as I told you before, and doctors as well. So, folks, without further ado, let's bring our bi-weekly contributor, Tamara.
Like my friend being sick.
I called Tamara up and said, Tamara, what's going to be the topic of discussion, or a text or whatever, however we communicate? What's going to be the topic of discussion? Tamara said, I have a rant. I don't know if to be angry or not. And I said, Tamara, you got to do Tamara. So Tamara, tell me what your rant is about.
So I'm angry. I'm angry that we have all of these people that are jumping into the race, particularly Bloomberg, that has jumped into this race, and this man is tossing money everywhere. He's buying media on social media, all the big advertisers, as Egberto was saying. But it's just, you know, I'm disappointed that we've had good candidates out there, you know, or just candidates in general out there that have been doing the groundwork, engaging the people. And now we have this billionaire that's coming along that's wanting to buy the election. Just like we have here in Georgia, Miss Kelly Loeffler, who is been appointed by Governor Kemp here in Georgia, and who has pledged $20 million of her own money.
Imagine that. Yes.
Yeah. I don't need your money, you peasants, you little people. I don't need your little money. I'll just put $20 million of my own money in, and I'll go in and I will do whatever I want to do or what I feel like you people need to be done.
But, you know, Tamara, and as I was saying before we kind of got interrupted, we can stop that. I mean, we can allow these folks to spend all the money they want to spend and not be successful if we do our part. And one of the things that I was telling Tamara earlier is that all of you who are listening to our voices right now, all of you have power. Everybody that is listening to us right now, they have power to make a difference. And the power that they have is to share on social media. And not only share on social media, but share in flesh and blood, Tamara. In other words, a lot of people, you know, become what they call keyboard warriors. Keyboard warriors is you stay behind a keyboard and you think because you're making comments in Facebook and you're making comments on Twitter that you're really effecting change or making a difference. But you know, as a candidate for the United States Senate in Georgia, you know that to effect change, you don't only have to do it through social media. You have to go out there and you have to touch people. You have to hug people. You have to kiss people. You have to do all these things. And so when you hear what we have to talk about here, you have to go out as well and engage with people with what we've learned here together, with the things that we do together. You learn later on in the show, we're going to talk about what Trump is doing with Social Security, Medicare, and the like. We're going to talk about why doctors are starting to support Medicare for All. But it's not enough to just hear it here on social media. It's not enough to just hear Tamara talk about these issues. We have to be promoters. We have to use what's called geometric progression so that many others hear it, not just from our voices, but from yours as well. Tamara.
Absolutely. I believe I'm definitely knocking on doors. I can't knock on every door in Georgia, but I'm going to every event. I'm in South Georgia, North Georgia, East Georgia, West Georgia in the same week sometimes. It's like
Right.
I'm making sure that I am where I need to be when I need to be there.
Right.
And I'm determined to meet as many people as I can and hug and kiss and love on people and show people that we need to take real people to Washington. We need to take people with a heart to serve, with a heart for community. Not these billionaires that just have the money to buy advertising space, that that want to use that to convince you that they're the right candidates. Or Kelly Loeffler here in Georgia, who is, doesn't need Georgia's money. She can use her own money and go to Washington and say Trump is the best.
And something else, Tamara, one of the things that we have to do also is talk to the hearts of people. Talk to where they really are. A lot of folks, have always given me a hard time because I just about believe in engaging everybody, Trump supporters or otherwise. I think everybody has, everybody has that need, if you know what I mean. Everybody has that need. And if I'm just talking to you, people of like mind, people that think like me, I'm not really doing much of a job, right? Because I'm not convincing anybody of anything. Now, the real job comes from me talking to people that don't think like me and seeing how we can come together and actually say, these are the issues that we need to talk about. These are the things that really matter in life.
And that's, and Egberto, that is what's happening with me when I talk about reparations. I'm talking about reparations with people that may not really quite understand what this is or why this is important and how this is a debt owed and how this is generational and it's systemic and it's ongoing. And it's, I'm a product of slavery and I'm the first generation college graduate in my family. We have to tell these real life stories to connect people to the issues and to the heart of the issues. Because if you don't live, this is not your lived experience. A lot of times people don't know, they don't know your story until you tell them your story. And as a politician and someone that's running for office, my job is to listen. I listen much more than I talk. I would rather not talk at all and just listen.
Tamara, that is so important. I think it's important for us to let people know. And, for those of you who are listening to Politics Done Right for the first time, for those of you who've been around, it doesn't matter what one might think. What Tamara just said is prescient. We listened first. And I try my best to do exactly that. Listen first. And why do we want to do that? We want the people who are with us to understand that we don't purport to know absolutely everything within this political realm. What we do want to say is we can make a difference.
And I don't know, Egberto, and I'll say it. There's a lot of stuff I don't know. But when I don't know, I will ask questions and I will keep asking questions until I absolutely understand. That is why I'm, part of my campaign trail is me finishing up my law degree at Emory. I'm at Emory taking constitutional law because I want to understand what this man is actually doing to us. He is totally undermining the Constitution, totally, setting precedent now on things that, this is scary stuff that is happening to our Constitution. So I want to understand that. So I'm taking constitutional law. I'm taking citizenship and immigration because we have cages at the border. And I want to understand what this is and where in the law does this say this is okay? Because it doesn't. And I want to make sure that I understand how I can be a resource to our immigrant community. I'm taking a class at Georgia State. I'm sitting in, it's not official, but I'm sitting in on a class about reparations and what that needs to look like in this country. How do we repair this systemic and generational damage that is still ongoing today? So there's a lot of big irons in the fire. We have this, you were just talking about Medicare for all and how you're going to address that later in the broadcast. Healthcare is a right. Everybody deserves healthcare. Housing. Everybody deserves housing and a place to live in this country. So we have a lot of things that need to be addressed. And with this current administration.
But you know what, Tamara, there are a lot of people that are listening right now to our show that are Trump supporters, right? So let me ask you, how do you convince a Trump supporter that in fact what they are seeing, right, the fiction that they're living by listening to this guy is wrong? How do you approach those Trump supporters that you're trying to earn their votes out there in Georgia and elsewhere?
First, I found out why they are a Trump supporter. Like once I let them talk and tell me, what is it about Donald Trump that you believe in, so that to help me to understand why you support him. And that could be, I mean, a lot of people, a lot of things they say about why they support Trump it doesn't quite add up. And if you listen to them long enough, you can find a way to talk them, maybe not in not supporting him, but seeing at least your side of the story.
And I love that you said that, because what I tell people all of the times is we are not trying to turn Republicans into Democrats. We are not trying to change. We're not trying to do anything like that. We're trying to turn ideologues into wanting things that services us all, that's able to provide for us all. But anyway, Tamara, we're coming down on that time. Why don't you tell us a little bit about a closure, and tell us a little bit about the new times of your show, etc.
Yes, so we are on Saturdays now, Saturdays at 11 a.m. David and I, where we talk about all things Georgia, Georgia politics, everything Georgia. We talk race, racism, race relations, just all things Georgia. That is every Saturday at 11 a.m. Egberto joins us and gives us a national political update. I do a broadcast on Wednesday evenings to talk about my campaign. And we're actually talking to Carl Smith, Egberto, about economics. And
Carl is a great guy.
He is a great guy and full of great information. So he and I will be on tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. We're everywhere as well, Egberto.
Look, thank you so kindly for being with me, Tamara. Good luck on your campaign. I know that we're going to see Senator Tamara Shealy back in November. So you hang in there and you keep doing the people's work, all right?
I will. Thank you, Egberto, and feel better.
Thank you very much. Have a great day now.
You too.
Bye-bye. Folks, that was Tamara with us. As you know, Tamara always gives us a great perspective. We have a lot to talk about. I want to first talk to you about El Señor Trump, okay? I want to remind you of the Trump that many of the people who support Trump remember hearing. I want to show you who Trump said he is. I want to remind you why Trump convinced many Trumpists, those folks that are living in Appalachia, those folks that are living throughout the Midwest. He promised them, I am going to make sure that irrespective of whatever, you're taken care of. And this is how he said it then.
People have been paying in for years, and now many of these candidates want to cut it. You save it by making the United States, by making us rich again, by taking back all of the money that's being lost. But we're not going to hurt the people who've been paying into Social Security their whole life, and then all of a sudden they're supposed to get less. Every Republican wants to do a big number on Social Security. They want to do it on Medicare. They want to do it on Medicaid. And we can't do that. And it's not fair to the people that have been paying in for years, and now all of a sudden they want to be cut. Don't get rid of Medicare. You can't do that. People love Medicare, and it's unfair to them. I'm going to fix it, make it better, but I'm not going to cut it. It's my absolute intention to leave Social Security the way it is, not increase the age, and to leave it as is. Clinton admitted that she wants to cut Medicare and Social Security. Hillary Clinton is going to destroy your Social Security and Medicare. I am going to protect and save your Social Security and your Medicare. You made a deal a long time ago.
Okay, you heard those chairs. Remember, this was at a rally, a Donald Trump rally, and Donald Trump is telling his people, I am going to make sure and not cut Social Security. I am not going to cut your Medicare. And of course, he goes to Davos. He's hanging out with a whole lot of billionaires. And you know what? Our impeached president. Do you know what our impeached president did? Our impeached president said the following at Davos.
Do I dare? One last question.
Go ahead.
Entitlements ever be on your plate?
At some point they will be. We have tremendous growth. We're going to have tremendous growth. This next year, it'll be toward the end of the year. The growth is going to be incredible. And at the right time, we will take a look at that. You know, that's actually the easiest of all things, if you look, because it's such a big
You're willing
percentage.
to do some of the things that you said you wouldn't do in the past, though, in terms of Medicare?
Well, we're going to look. We also have assets that we never had.
You notice that prescient question. You are saying you're going to do things that you said you weren't going to do. Yeah, but we have a lot more assets now. Of course you have more assets. You've stolen a lot from the middle class. Look at what has happened with the stock market. It has zoomed up. Why did the stock market zoom up, people? I need to remember. Ashley Mosley, welcome aboard. Daniel Ledoux, welcome aboard. Bruce Pollard, welcome aboard. Dion L. Davis, welcome aboard. And in, let's see what we have here in YouTube. I don't show my YouTube thing here. But anyhow, folks, so think about what we're talking about here, folks. Think about what he has decided to do. He has decided to go against his own word and did what? Donald Trump promised that he wasn't going to cut Social Security. And what did he end up doing altogether? He said in the second term, he just may do it. I'm interested to see if there are any Trumpist supporters with us right now. If you want to make a comment, remember, folks, this is a call-in show as well. You can give us a call at 646-716-5812. Again, that number is 646-716-5812. Would love to hear from any of you at this time. Anyhow, now, I want to remind you of something, people. Many of us back then, we always knew that Trump, for all practical purposes, was a chameleon. We always knew that, right? We knew that Mr. Trump would do just the things that he said he wouldn't do. We knew exactly what he stood for. There was no doubt about that. So my question to you is, knowing these things now, are you still supporters? Do you really think he has your interests at hand? Do you really think he's somebody that you want to trust? You know, right now his impeachment trial is on, and a lot of people are, for the first time, are hearing the real truth about who this guy really is. Who this guy really is. And they're wondering, is this the guy I voted for? He is. He will cut your Social Security. You know why? For the same reason that he gave the tax cut to all these guys. And the reason is following. There's just so much based on our economic model. There's just so much that you can do as it is. And here comes the BS from Egberto. Mike Cisak, please tell me what BS have I spoken about so far. Mike Cisak just said that I'm speaking BS inside of this thing. Now we have John Anderson is simple as an B. Donald Trump is an expert con man and has been so throughout his adult life. He's doing good at it. What else might we expect? That from John Anderson. So we have two different contrasting opinions here. One from Mike Cisak and one from Mr. Anderson. Mike Cisak says, I'm speaking BS. Please tell me specifically what I am earned about, sir. I would love to hear that. But anyhow, going back to the subject, let me explain something, folks. Donald Trump had to do certain things. Donald Trump gave a huge tax cut. And that huge tax cut was never paid for, in as much as he said the economy would roll. The economy rolled for a few months after that. You know, that is like what's called the sugar high. Let's go ahead and get a call here in. And caller, I'm going to be coming to you right this minute. And then we'll take it from there. All right, caller, you're hot. Come on in.
Hey, Roberto, it's Mike.
Mike, talk to me, sir.
Yeah, basically, I went and read the actual transcript that you were talking about. He says
right
on
here.
the table.
I have it right here.
Right. He says he's gonna put the programs on the table. He didn't say cut. That's an assumption. Okay.
No, let me read the transcript for you, sir,
Yeah.
because I have it here. Kernan says.
Yes, you just made the assumption.
No, let me.
You just assumed. See, there you go. There it is, right there. You just assumed that he said about cutting. He never said a word about cutting.
Let's go
He
ahead
said we're gonna
and read
look
the
at it.
transcript. You know, do you want to read the transcript?
Fine.
That's what it says. Do I dare? Kernan says, do I dare? One last question. President Trump says, go ahead. Kernan says, entitlements ever be on your plate? Trump replies, at some point they will be. Okay? Entitlements will be on the plate. We have tremendous growth. We're going to have tremendous growth. This next year, it'll be toward the end of the year. The growth is going to be incredible. And at the right time, we will take a look at that. You know, that's actually the easiest of all things. If you look, cause it's such a, if you're willing, big percentage. Big percentage. That is a cut, sir. To do some of the things that, wait, hold on. Hold on.
You just assumed.
Some of the things that you said you wouldn't do in the past, though, in terms of Medicare. Well, we're going to.
You just assumed. See, you're assuming. That's your problem.
Mean in your opinion, sir?
Oh, okay. Well, I tell you what. Let me kind of explain.
Please do.
What Trump is really actually trying to do, and why he keeps telling people that he's going to save Social Security and Medicare, even though they are broke programs. Okay. The problem with the programs is that right now we have a huge baby boomer retirement going on.
Right.
That's why the programs are running such huge deficits. Okay? The only way, because the programs actually have their own taxes, is Social Security, FICA tax, okay?
Right.
The only way that you can get past that baby boom bump, is what I call it, okay, for the next probably close to 15 years. Mm-hmm. The only way that you can do it is if you push as many people into working as possible to support those programs, to get past the bump. Okay, once you get past the bump, then you can actually be able to hold on and not be able to have to cut that program. The Social Security Administration itself has said that within less than 10 years, they're actually going to start paying out 25% less to beneficiaries.
People die, but here's the thing.
No, that's because all the IOUs that have been run up when they had a surplus, and all the politicians were spending like crazy, all the IOUs are gone at that point.
Listen.
Okay, so basically what they're saying is, at that point, we're running a deficit, we have to go 25% less to everyone.
Oh, you're talking about...
Okay, that's what they're assuming.
Let me first explain something to you, okay? That is a fallacy that we're living with, okay? Anytime we talk about...
and you just call it fallacy.
Let me explain what I mean.
Live in your own fantasy world.
No.
That's the truth.
Listen to this, okay?
I go with math.
And that's what
I go with math.
Let me give you the math. Mike. Let me give you the math.
Try.
Okay, here we go.
You can, but try.
I mean, look, my statements are absolute, sir, but here's a fact. Is it true or not that right now the repo market is being flooded with dollars from the federal feds? True or false?
True.
All right. Is it true or false that so far that has not created any massive inflation?
True.
Isn't it true that the reason that hasn't created a massive inflation is that really there is no factual basis for scarcity? Come on, keep saying true. I'm true. That's true as well.
I'm not.
It's
What are you
true.
talking
It's an
about?
absolute statement, sir. We have, as long as we can produce, there is no scarcity. Okay, so that's a true statement.
As long as you throw money in, no, hold on. You got a little fallacy going there. As long as you throw extra money into debt, okay, over and over and over again, as far as bad investments that are in the banks, it goes in one big circle. It doesn't go out into the actual market. So you won't have inflation there. Okay, they're covering their own back ends. For example, back in 2008, when we had the big crash, we had the big financial crash and the housing market crash and everything else, and the credit markets all froze up. Okay, they threw almost $4 trillion into the bank system in order to keep it going, to keep it liquid. Okay, $4 trillion. You should have had in that short time. We should have had massive inflation at that point, but we didn't. You know why? Because we had so many bad assets going under that it was swallowing all that money up. Okay, we still have bad assets in the economy, and they're being taken care of over and over again.
I'm sorry, Mike. Mike, you're buying the BS from the folks. Here's the deal.
No.
None of that.
I've already read about this from the Federal Reserve.
And let me explain why you're wrong.
You don't have a clue.
Let me explain why you're wrong, Mike. It's simple why you're wrong. The only thing that matters in the current capitalist economic system is whether there is scarcity or not and pricing power, period. I don't care about nothing else that happens in the back end. And you know who knows that? The Republicans have always known that. When you have heard Cheney say things like deficit doesn't matter, he understood the true concept. He understood the true concept. And not only did he understand the true concept, but the true concept was realized when we threw $4 trillion into the market, when the repo market continued to, the way it is right now. We know the fact. The only reason we don't do MMT is because right now we just want those assets going to a few, not the masses of people. We could actually have implemented MMT for things like student loans. We could have actually implemented MMT for things like forgiveness of certain kinds of loans without creating moral hazards. But we don't do that because the only moral hazards we protect is that of the corporatocracy. And I don't have to argue that fact because that is what we do. When the banks went under, we should have nationalized the banks. We didn't. We allowed the banks to survive even though they were the one who created the crisis. When the savings and loans, we constantly use socialism to help the corporatocracy, but we can never use it to help the average American citizen. It's that simple.
You do have a point there as far as the socialism covering up for bad policy. Yes. Bad policy by the government.
Yes. Not by the government, by corporatocracy.
Yes, by the government. Yes. No. See, here's the other little problem is that you got this problem where you think that corporations are just automatically out there to do all sorts of bad things.
No, I don't. I don't believe that at all. I don't believe that at all. I think that corporations are fulfilling their fiduciary responsibility. The fiduciary responsibility of a corporation is to maximize the profits for its shareholders, and maximization of profits mean whatever the market will bear. Okay, in other words, they have pricing power, and their pricing power is whatever the market would bear. So I think corporations are inherently evil because of that concept. Okay, because their sole responsibility is if.
So you're saying that.
Go ahead.
Let me ask you. Mm-hmm. So you're saying that me as the market, the people, okay, is the market, and we want things from these corporations, and we're willing to pay a certain amount of money for those things. And you're saying that's a bad thing?
No, what I'm saying is the following. I am saying we need to have a bifurcated market. And the bifurcated market says the following. There are certain parts of our market that should not abide by the rules of whatever the market will bear, because that is exactly what we've shown in medical care and in other areas. There are some areas I don't care if whatever the market would bear, because if I want to buy a car, I can decide to buy a car or use a bus. So I mean, in that area, I think we should allow the market
Sure.
the intricacies.
We can do that in everything.
Say that again.
We can do that in everything.
No, we
The
can't.
problem is that, no, you have a point there, but not because you think you have another point because of the market or as far as corporations. It's because of government limitations, and I kept trying to tell you that with real estate. I mean, how much of the land do you think is associated with either, okay, the city says this area is for residential, this area is for commercial, this area over here you can't touch, and all that kind of stuff, and they limit land. Land is limited, okay? There's only so much land that we have.
You don't want to get into
Only so much land in each city.
You don't want to get into the land discussion with me, and the reason why is I don't even think land.
But you're saying and that's your problem, okay? People own it for a short time when they're alive, and they take care of it because they own it. If you ever want to know why I think so, is that go to an Indian reservation. You know why? Because none of those Indians actually own any of that land. And they're as poor as dirt because of it.
That is you know what?
Because they can't develop their own house, they can't even develop their own housing.
That is where
They can't.
That is where you're missing the point. You see, remember, they are poor in.
No.
Listen to what I'm saying now. I listen to you. Here's this.
They're captive to government.
Wrong. Again, that's
They're
wrong.
captive to the
are
federal
poor-
government.
They are poor in a capitalist system.
Federal government set up.
No.
No.
The
The
Indians
federal
were poor.
government set up an
Sir?
Indian trust
Sir, they
that
were
none of the Indians
fine.
can actually own individually.
Mr. Cizek, they got poor in a capitalist system. Okay,
No, they didn't.
Wait.
It's all socialist.
No. You define
The Indian reservations is all socialist.
No, wait a second.
It's it's
a
completely socialist
created
system
by. Hold on a second. Listen to what I'm saying for a second.
by the federal government.
Listen to what I'm saying. And this is what I want all the audience to understand, because you bring up a very important point. I've said that I don't think land should be owned. You said land should be owned for the time that the person is alive, but you don't say that after that person is dead, that it should revert back to, let's say, the state, but instead to their heirs, which means some people got land and some people likely will never have land. So, I mean, it is completely ill thinking, but let's go beyond that ill thinkingness. The Indians were doing just fine before they were invaded. They were doing just fine. They just didn't have muskets. They just didn't have those things. They had their own forms of government, if you will, and it worked fine. They protected the land. They took good care of the land. They didn't have the kinds of things with the land that we have, that we've done to the land. So please, they may be poor now within our society, but when it was their society, they did just fine. And you say?
Yeah, no. You really need to do some history.
No, I did.
So-
That's one thing I'm good in, sir. And the thing about it is this. One of the problems...
Yeah, no, you're not. So I know,
History is
because
written
I've
by
actually
the
researched
conqueror,
it
right?
too.
History is written by the conqueror. And the conqueror makes it believe that these Indians were savages who had lives that weren't worth living, and that you came here and you civilized them to your form of civilization. That doesn't mean that that was the best for them. You know, not because you have iron things or whatever make you a better civilization than others. It doesn't. Look at the pyramids and all these things that the Mayans had and these others had. You may say, okay, they are not in existence anymore. The United States won't be in existence much longer either. That's just the nature of it.
Yeah.
But anyhow, Mike, thank you so kindly for calling. I enjoy interacting with you. I think I want you to continue listening because someday you are going to see that the absolute belief in the market is not tenable.
Well, for example, I'll just say this. Look up a few examples of how the Indian reservation system is set up. That's all I'm saying.
I don't want to learn about the Indian reservation for one specific reason. That is something
because
that was
you don't want to because it's socialism.
No, sir. I am not looking at the Indian
Yes,
reservations. I'm looking at when Indians were sovereign.
Indian Health Service.
No. There's a difference. Indian reservation is what the Europeans applied to the Indians. Indian sovereignty are the folks who allowed the pilgrims who eventually... Wait, listen to what I'm saying. This is important. Indian reservation is what Europeans applied to the Indians after they stole their lands. Indian sovereignty is how they lived prior, and in that prior life, how they helped those who would conquer them to survive on this land. Always remember that, okay? Thank you, sir. Have a wonderful day.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, later.
All right, that was Mike Cisak. Always, I love all my callers, including Mike Cisak, because he makes you think. And not only does he make you think, he forces me to be more, he forces me to hone the argument. It's very important. So a lot of you that listen to the interaction between guys like Mike Cisak or Daniel Ledo, who are very conservative thinking, why do you spend your time talking to these guys? Because we're all Americans in the same country, different opinions, and we try to merge them together. And what I'm trying to do specifically is to ensure that folks don't just look at things from one point of view, but that they honestly see things the way that they are. It looked like, let's see what we have here now. Okay, John Anderson says, he. Wait, let's see. He says, Canada somehow a force to be able to have good health care for less, and it's not based on huge profits and big money. Yeah, I mean, look, and that's the thing, John Anderson. There are other countries in the world that are doing things much better than we are. The problem that we have is we think for some reason that only the way we do things are the way things should be. And that's not the case. There are a lot of other people around that have found ways to do things much better than we did. Okay, the next subject that we wanted to talk about is Medicare for All, right? Recently, I was supposed to take care of this subject on the program yesterday at KPFT 90.1 FM, but I was unable to because there were so many people calling into the show yesterday. And when they called in, they wanted to talk. And like I always say, this show belongs to you. And in fact, if some of you want to call in right now, 646-716-5812, this is your show. You can call in and change the subject at hand. But I want to read something to you because I was very excited because this was an article in Common Dreams. A historic shift, and I'm putting that on the screen, the article on the screen right now. A historic shift. Second largest physicians group in U.S. has new prescription. It's Medicare for All, and this is what they said. The fight for Medicare for All received a two-handed boost from tens of thousands of doctors on Monday when the American College of Physicians in a move described as a sea change for the medical profession, officially endorsed a single-payer system as among only one of two possible ways to improve the nation's health care woes. Representing 159,000 doctors of internal medicine nationwide, the ACP is the largest medical specialty society and second largest physician group in the country overall after the American Medical Association. The ACP delivered its case in a 43-page position paper titled Envisioning a Better U.S. Healthcare System for All, Coverage and Cost of Care. published in the Annals of Internal Medicine on Monday, according to the paper. Although the United States leads the world in healthcare spending, it fares far worse than its peers on coverage and most dimensions of value. Cost and coverage are intertwined. Many Americans cannot afford healthcare insurance, and even those with insurance face substantial cost-relative barriers to care. Employer-sponsored insurance is less prevalent and more expensive than in the past, and in response, deductibles have grown and benefits have been cut. The long-term solvency of U.S. public insurance programs is a perennial concern. The United States spends far more on healthcare administration than peer countries. Administrative barriers divert time from patient care and frustrate patients, clinicians, and policymakers. Major changes are needed to a system that costs too much, leaves too many behind, and delivers too little. Folks, this is monumental. I don't know if people understand the nature of an organization this huge coming out for Medicare for All. What we have to do is, because, we have somebody like Elizabeth Warren recently not stepping back, but sort of saying, let's ease ourselves into Medicare for All. This stuff tells us, no, there's no easing ourselves into Medicare for All. We have to go full-fledged into Medicare for All. And you know why? And the reason we have to do it is incremental changes won't do. Incremental changes to our healthcare system won't do. We have to go full-fledged. But folks, before I go any further, I want to remind you that this is a show that needs your support. So what I want to ask all of you right now, I want to ask all of you to consider going to our store.politicsdoneright.com, and get one of our t-shirts. We have I Support Independent Media. As you can see on the screen, you can go to store.politicsdoneright.com. Again, that is store.politicsdoneright.com to get that t-shirt. The other t-shirt that we have right now, which is going to be on it, people are going to be talking about this one. It's called Unprecedented President. And you got to see this one, man. This is the one that has a picture of Donald Trump with a chain ball on his tail and handcuffs on, and putting the 45th president in jail. So check that out. We have that at store.politicsdoneright.com. Don't forget to go to store.politicsdoneright.com. For those of you who are online, please do remember that patreon.com. If you go to patreon.com/politicsdoneright, that is patreon.com/politicsdoneright, to support the show, subscribe to the show. We ask for your kind support. You can also support our equipment by going to GoFundMe.com/independent-media-upgrade. Again, that is GoFundMe.com/independent-media-upgrade. And of course, you can always go to contribute on PayPal, and that is going to, and by the way, I'm putting all these links inside of our main Facebook page for politicsdoneright.com with Egberto Willies. That is at paypal.me/politicsdoneright. paypal.me/politicsdoneright. Of course, you can always go to the store. We have a lot of other things at the store, folks. You can also get cups and labels and books and the whole works that we have from Politics Done Right. So please check us out. We need your support. Store.politicsdoneright.com. Okay, let's get back with the program. Enough of the asking you to do this and asking you to do that. I need you to do that, but let's get busy. If you want to give us a call, we can still take another call at 646. What's that number? That number is, come on, up. That number is 646-716-5812. Again, that number is 646-716-5812 if anybody else wants to call in. So, in closing, before we get any further, the big topics of the show today. One, the doctors have come out. What is it called? The ACP. What is it? What does that stand for? The ACP. What does ACP stand for? What does ACP? The American College of Physicians, which is 159,000 people, doctors large. They came out in favor of Medicare for All. Folks, you have to implore that onto your politicians. You cannot give them a break. You cannot allow them to not support Medicare for all. Bernie Sanders right now is the sole standard bearer that says, I am going to go into office and immediately start working on Medicare for all. No half measures that eventually gets torn down. Remember, Obamacare was a half measure, and you see how easy it was for Donald Trump to destroy it. See how easy it was for Donald Trump to destroy. See how easy it was for the corporatocracy, the private insurance companies, to get around it because they wrote it in such a manner that they could erode it. That is why we have to go for Medicare for all right now, full stop. And of course, the second topic is Donald Trump at Davos. He's saying, I'm putting Social Security, I'm putting Medicare on the table. Mike Cisak wasn't so sure that he meant cutting it. Anybody who puts Medicaid and Medicare and Social Security on the table, they're not doing it to not cut it. They're doing it to do exactly that. Cut it. Do not make any mistakes about that. Well, folks, we are coming to the end of the show. I am sorry that I have the flu or something, and I am not 100% today. But I thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. Without you, we do not have a show. Without you, we just won't do. So thank you so kindly, as usual, for being a part of Politics Done Right. Please remember, more than anything else, we need you to share these programs. We need you to be a part of making independent media successful. We need you to make independent media successful, not by sharing, but also subscribing. So please, again, and I have it into the screens, please subscribe go to politicsdoneright.com. Again, go to politicsdoneright.com, and you have many ways that you can find to support these programs. But we do need you to continue doing your work. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right, and you know how I end this baby. I am what? Out!